Okay, so I have to do a tour video by myself today. Listen, so my husband has been working literally tirelessly to get his jobs accomplished because we have so much stuff in the works here for the property, like so many plans, and he is trying to barter some of the work. So he is literally working Saturdays and Sundays, long nights, to try to get some of this stuff done so we don't get killed with the cost of the new barn. And with the price of everything nowadays, we're sort of like trying to figure out how to make it work best. And that means he has less time to be home, which means I am with the kids 24/7 and trying to film and take care of my own gardens. Ooh, my yard is a wreck. It is a wreck. I need some major help here. But anyway, I wanted to come on and just show you what's going on in the garden today. We've had tons of rain. Go figure. We had the driest season that I can ever remember. Generally, Septembers in New York are pretty dry. And now we have had one of the wettest Septembers. So we have not had to water. Everything is kind of getting powdery mildew though. We did start having powdery mildew a while ago. And that just literally spurred everything to be covered in it. And then you have some fungus that's starting to set in, but that usually happens here in the fall. But I figured I would walk around and give you guys sort of an update so that we don't make you guys feel like we abandon you. I know we've been getting some comments about where's the videos, and you guys miss us, which is great, but you'll have to deal with me for today. And I'll show you some things that are going on. Nothing looks fabulous, I can tell you that. I haven't even had time to be home to work, to cut back, to do all that good stuff. But I'm excited about what the future is going to bring, getting all of this work done. And with a little bit of neglect in the gardens, I think it's all going to be worth it in the end. And hopefully you guys can appreciate that. But I have to give a shout out to my husband, who has been working tirelessly. I don't know how he's doing it right now. Literally coffee is his best friend. So I'm going to do this video and just give you an idea of what everything looks like. And this is the real deal. This is the raw real deal. There's no sugarcoating this. There is no filter for this. My kids are homesick, so that's always actually this is the one break time that I'm having now, and they're inside sort of just resting on the couch, and Blake is in bed. So while they're down for the count, I'm gonna come out and just enjoy some peace at home, because usually I am running ragged. So I am going to take some time today. We'll show you what the garden looks like. Don't be judgmental. I have not been home a lot to film stuff, but I have to show you this because this thing is flying around today, and this is exciting. You ready for this? There it is. We have a monarch today. And you know what? We've probably had monarchs. I have taken pictures of monarchs in between practices and kids' activities, but I'm so excited. So definitely trying to enjoy my sunflowers, which are leaning. Yeah, we've had some pretty good rain, surprisingly. The sun is starting to come out today. It's been weird. We've had cold temperatures, and then we've had some warm-ups. Like yesterday, I was so confused. It was really warm, and I'm like, oh, we had to turn the air on after sort of wearing sweatshirts for a couple days. But yeah, so the sunflowers are bringing me absolute joy. Honestly, I might just pull up a chair and just stare at them, even though they are just all sorts of wacky. The birds have been eating from them because I went to get seeds out of my red sunflowers, and there's basically nothing left. So if nothing else, I'm feeding the birds. Let's see, the zinnias, the desert mix zinnias, holy cow, still going. No powdery mildew as closely as those are planted. That's kind of odd to me, but hey, that's a bonus. But they're super bright. They're awesome. Those are also cheerful. Oh, my buddy's back. Let's see where he lands. He's got a lot of white on him. Is this a monarch? It looks like a monarch. Sometimes we actually had a viceroy this year for the first time ever, or the first time that I've ever seen one. So I was kind of like, oh, there's a monarch. And then I got up on it. I'm like, wait, it doesn't look the same. Something's weird about it. And it ends up being a viceroy. So look at, this is Lily Lane. This, I know this isn't very exciting because it just looks like green buds, but this is a clown pant seedling. This is the second one I have that is supposed to be striped. So the first one, you know, got eaten. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. And so this is the second one, and I have lots of buds. So I am waiting for that one. As a matter of fact, this is really silly, but I put this chair in front of, and I'm going to show you what I do. No lie. It's kind of silly, but it happens. I literally put it like that because the deer don't eat it if it's blocked off physically. They don't like things that they're not used to. So I'm kind of changing things up every night and spraying, because even though I'm spraying now, you'll see when I get to the hostas, you'll see what's happening, because we're not home a lot. So I have another one that is just about ready. We got some buds swelling and got a nice amount of cluster there. This is, all right, so this is a seedling, and it's got 4 pods on it. So some of my seedlings are actually gonna have babies. That's exciting to me. I have had some exciting seedlings. I've also had some that are sort of similar to ones that I already have. This is amazing. This is the one with the dark purple, the awesome eye zone. So there's 2 of these that are going to open today if the sun ever comes out. I can't wait to see what that follow-up bloom looks like. More seed pods. Look at the size of this one. And you can kind of even hear the seeds in there. What else? So we have some, we have a scape. Hold on, this is a new one. All right, so this is fun. This is why I need to be home more. Let me see, what is the cross? Ooh, this is a brand new cross, new seller that I'm not used to growing stuff. Unknown Soldier, and I know that that's what that stands for because I wrote it, times a seedling that she grew that I loved. Holy cow, that's exciting. I'm gonna try and show you what the cross is because I'm sure I took a picture of it when I purchased the seed. Holy cow, that's gonna bloom. I'm sorry, I'm really excited about that because, you know, why not? Why not be excited? More pods there. And this guy, so we've already seen this one bloom. I'll show you a picture of what the bloom looks like. And then look, this is a rebloom, instant rebloom scape. It's on the same exact plant. Here's the first scape and the second scape. So this one's obviously done and this one's loaded and ready to go. So if that's gonna bloom and rebloom, oh my God, that's an awesome performer. The rest of these look at huge. Look at the size of the fans. Like, look how wide they are. No scapes, but I'm looking forward to seeing those next year, man. Super excited. Also, we had that tropical looking one that bloomed on here. And, oh, do I have I don't have a pod. Nope, see the flower fell off on this one. So that one's done, but I do have a pod there. So look at this, there was 2 of these, Ruckus times Clown Pants. This is the second one that I'm like, oh, we don't have a scape on it. Well, guess what? We do. So I'm so looking forward to seeing the comparison of the flower on this one to that one. That's just exciting. I love comparing them, especially the siblings. We've had such cool luck just with the different genetics in each flower, even though they came from the same pod, same parents. So this is the cottage garden. You know what? Doesn't really look terrible, but it is. Here's my purple smoke bush, completely like dying. I do have to cut this all the way back and we'll see what happens next year. It's just like a big crispy mess at the moment. Big crispy mess. This started dying in July. And while it's not entirely dead, something has attacked it and I just haven't had a chance to sort of cut it back. But I think I'll do that just when it goes dormant naturally. I don't really know what's happening to it, but I'm a little upset about it. It is such a staple in this garden. I love that foliage, so we'll have to see. Hopefully it just needs a cleanup and it's being attacked by something internally, and then it'll just rejuvenate. If you know purple smoke bushes, you can hack them all the way to the ground and they will come back with a vengeance. They're a tough tree, so this is a little surprising to me that it's taken such a beating for some reason. Anyway, we have some phlox, Glamour Girl. Still no powdery mildew, which is amazing in this zone. Most phlox, and the reason I do not grow phlox is because of the powdery mildew, and I will tell you that is still going strong. What else is going on in here? So the catmint has rejuvenated. I gave that a haircut, and it's coming back nice. Everything else, you know, the coneflowers are about done. I do have some seed heads that I can collect. There's Glamour Girl again. While I have only limited flowers, no powdery mildew, so I do love that. Vanilla Strawberry. So healthy enough, didn't get a ton of flowers this year. I did hard prune that in the spring, but it blooms on new wood, so I'm not exactly sure. I may not have fertilized that, so that might be something I have to keep track of, and really hit this one with some fertilizer in the spring, because I do love it. The butterfly bush, that's Miss Molly, definitely needs some deadheading. I have a ton of spent blooms. The pink asters. Okay, so these were standing up. If you remember in the spring, these got kind of mowed down by the deer. So, but they're just now starting to bloom. I have to get in there and stake them, but you know, along with the long list of other things that I've been needing to do. Glamour Girl, here's the third section, no powdery mildew. And I don't spray anything, have not sprayed anything. So this is, you know, this is the raw deal. And then this is just a mess. Just a mess. Pinky Winky, a little bit of an odd shaped bloom, but you know, hey, we're getting bloom and I have to appreciate that for what's happening right now. All right, let's go to the sun garden. So very, very little color, but color, there's still a little bit. The sedums are going off, but man, did they flop. Autumn Charm looks great. Still standing up, has some things to lean on, which is what I'm assuming is helping. Let's see. Sorry about that interruption. I actually had to stop the video because my kid's school is calling. Probably just the automated, you know, making sure you know your kid is absent today. Yes, I do. Thank you. But anyway, so not a ton of things going on right now, but lots of seed heads. Again, this is the prime time to pick those. But these are really wet, so you have to sort of let those dry out quite a bit if you're going to save the seed, because you don't want them to rot. But again, see the sedum. So I love sedum. Like, look at the color and the foliage contrast, so it really stands out in the fall. But the biggest issue with this is the flop. And honestly, it's been very rainy. These weren't very floppy prior to having like this whole month of rain. So, you know, it's happening. This one I don't really mind too much because it sort of looks cool. It's sort of like the habit of this one. I like it because the stems are not bare when it flops. So that is super helpful. Baja Burgundy, you know, we still have some faded bright pink blooms in there, but you know, I have to get in here and clean this up. So this is what I have ahead of me. I don't know what you guys are doing or how well you're keeping up, but it's hard in the fall to like stay motivated, to keep everything cleaned up and to keep everything happy, especially when you're limited as we are this year for time. Man, I had some big plans in here. I just have not been to anything. So the great blue lobelia is blooming. I'm glad I have that in there, but look at this. Those are weeds, and those on the stem, that's weed seeds. So that's not exciting at all, but I got to get in there and pull them, because if they drop, woo, next year we're going to have a lot of that growing. Let's see. There is some Rudbeckia triloba back there. That is the little mini black-eyed Susans. I have actually cut some of those for bouquets, and like sold them at the farmer's market, which is amazing. I know some of you have asked about the farmer's market. Oh gosh, it's crazy. It's a small market. They're trying to get it on sort of like, I don't know, they're trying to get it off and running, and it's just troublesome. There we don't have a lot of traffic, but we did okay. But if we have a chance to actually film some, I will get that out to you guys. So what else is going on? Ooh, this one is beautiful. Beautiful. This is like almost like a crystal pink against the lime foliage. Love this one. Love it. Like that did not flop. It behaved itself. The deer did eat this sedum. It should have been covered in those bright pink blooms right there, but it happens. Let's see, catmint. This one is trying to be revived a little bit. Lovely lolly, pretty much at the end of its lovely life. It's got a couple little small blooms here and there. Let's see. Look at this. This is annoying. This is giant stalks of sedum. Beautiful. Laying on the ground. And why is it laying on the ground? I don't know. I don't ever recall this being so floppy. And I did not fertilize it because I learned you're not supposed to fertilize it. So, but that's what I get. I guess we have half of it laying into the garden, looking somewhat okay, and the other half, I'm just gonna go through there and cut off those heavy blooms. Maybe I'll bring them in for a bouquet, I don't know. Pinky Winky actually showing up a little bit tall back there. See the white, beautiful hydrangea blooms? And then we have Bleeding Hearts Heliopsis. I love the dark foliage in there. That was a good move on my behalf last year. And then Golden Jubilee Hyssop, which is right here with the lime foliage and the purple flowers. I do have a little bit of a gap here because if you remember, I cleaned up this tree peony. That looks okay this year. Nothing kind of died on the branches. Nothing weird happened to that this year, so I'm happy about that. And you know, the 9 bark looks okay. 9 bark sort of growing to the right. And the big viburnum, that's a leatherleaf viburnum. That got shaped a little bit in the spring and thinned out so that I can have some of the sunlight still coming in through here to feed some of those filler plants. But you can see this is sort of leaning to the right. But I usually clean that up and prune it and shape it in the spring. So that's expected. So that's what this looks like. My hydrangea hedge looks amazing. I'm thrilled with this. I mean, that's the only thing that looks like I've been somewhat taking care of it. But that's why we have those things, right? Man, shrubs are amazing. Shrubs look great almost all year long. There's nothing wrong with shrubs. Perennials are the hard work, right? We have to like deadhead, maintain, cut them back, figure out what's happening to them, making sure that they're getting enough water, enough sun. But yeah, so that's the sun garden in a nutshell at the moment. All right, moving from the hydrangea hedge, and by the way, those were little quick fire hydrangeas. This little corner garden, you know, still here. It's getting eaten by deer way back there. Check that out. What the hell? Well, actually, it got eaten here also, but it's like eating on the backside, which is okay because look, the front of the leaves are great. It didn't actually kill the whole look of the garden. They were quite nice, unless, you know what? Now I have a theory, is that I sprayed from here, from where I'm standing and filming, and I didn't hit those back leaves. So the back leaves don't smell and they ate them. That's what I think happened. I don't think they were actually being nice to me. So we have some peonies, some more hostas that would have been sprayed. What else? Variegated Solomon seal. Man, looking great. My high noon tree peony did not recover great this year. So we'll have to wait and see what that does in the spring. But check this out. So this is Hillside Splash. This is that Simicifuga that has the variegated leaf, kind of have like multicolored greens, yellows in the leaf. It did not fare really well with the high heat and the drought. That's what these leaves and the little burnt tips are. That's what happened to it. But I didn't actually clean it up, but I can see that there's new growth coming. Like it did put up new leaves. And look at this. So every year this puts up this really cool scape, and I'm going to show you. This is really pretty. It's got like a pink hue to the bud. If I can get my phone to focus. It's got like a pink hue there, and then it blooms like this white blush, which is gorgeous. I love it. But I will tell you, this is the first year that that's happened. Usually I get these and they don't open. So I kind of thought that this was not a bloomer. Like, these are very hard nodules, very hard buds. And ever since I've owned this, because I remember posting about this plant to you guys, that I found one that was variegated, I have never had it bloom. This year, they're all blooming. So while the foliage looks like crap, whatever happened, maybe this is like the 5th year leap, but I'm finally seeing it in bloom. And it's gorgeous. I love it. Now, if I can get the foliage to look as good as the blooms, we'd be all set. Let's see. Don't even bother here. This is where my dog is sort of trampling in here. And the deer have eaten my, my gorgeous little geraniums. This was loaded. This was actually doing so well. It was just covered, and you can tell because all these little starlet looking things, those were all where the blooms were. Let's see, the Hakone grass is looking good. The hydrangea that's blue is now starting to fade, but I like the color on that anyway. I have some clusters that are still starting to come out on that one. What a mess. Not even gonna bother. This is the retaining wall. So on the opposite side, and this is also, you know, a junk pile. But I do have amaryllis that are really loving the cold weather and decided to re-sprout. And I'm not getting any flowers on them because I honestly was going to discard them. But they kind of look happy now, even though they're in the junk pile. Anyway, so back of the retaining wall. So this is right in back of the patio area. This is what the retaining wall looks like. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hosta, those huge clumps, these have got to be like 3-4 feet wide. All of these were divisions from one guacamole hosta. So I got the same size clump by dividing it that I did. I mean, I got the same size clump per division than when I started with one massive. So that kind of intrigued me. So I may have to divide these up again and finish them along this wall, because what happened was I divided them and I only got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clumps. And then I just added ones that I had that needed to be divided in other gardens. And I just filled in this wall. But what I'm gonna do, I think, I like the way that this looks kind of clean and sort of consistent. So I may just divide those up again and finish this part, and then take these hostas and fill them in other spots. I do love this one though. This one has really started to take off. And if you look, it's actually got this really cool part of the leaf. It's like almost a grayish green. So I'm curious to see how this one is gonna sort of shape up, but I do love it. That white edging, man, it's my favorite. Got some really tall daylily seedlings in the back of my patio garden. But that's what is along the back wall of the retaining wall. This, you know what, this is ready. This is ready to just get cleaned up. Everything did really well. It's just really sloppy at the moment. But anyway, so still have some zinnias coming out. Still have some zinnias being trampled. But they're pretty. The good thing about zinnias, even if you knock them down, they grow sideways. So they will grow straight up toward the sun, regardless of whether they're laying down or not. That, folks, is determination. That is more determination than I have to get this stinking yard cleaned up right now. So yeah, I have some daylilies in pots, as you can see right here, that need to be planted up. The tomatoes on the arbor, I have to pick the rest of them, but the plant is pretty much succumbed to blight, which happens. That's normal. And it was healthy for a long part of the season this year. So I think a lot of it had to do with the lack of rain, so the disease didn't really spread quickly. But once the rain hit, it sort of went pretty quickly. This is the hosta bed that pretty much has gotten eaten. This is what reminded me to spray. I looked out my kitchen window and I'm like, oh boy, okay. Apparently, it's time. The deer have found it, and with all the rain, even spraying it, if I'm spraying it and then it rains the next day, you know, I don't know how well it stays on in this heavy rain stuff, so you do have to apply multiple times if you're gonna have rain, like consistent rain, because if it doesn't completely dry on the leaves, it will wash off, even though it's sort of somewhat oil-based. So that's that. Kind of a mess, but you know what, from far away, still kind of looks a mess, but wishful thinking, right? Wishful thinking. What else is going on? This is not happy. Somebody mowed into my bed. Not good. So I will have to have a discussion with somebody, but look at, we got weeds popping up everywhere. This is white bikini hosta, which is beautiful. My Sun King this year, oh my God, it had the most glorious blooms. Look at this. If I can get the little, can I get the little flower to, there we go. Look at that. They had big stalks of them. I actually cut them off and put them in vases. I did leave some for the birds because those will produce black berries for the birds. That's an Aralia Sun King. But yeah, that went wild this year. Look how wide that is. Pretty crazy. My sweet fern did really well this year. That is a host plant. What else? The vervain needs to be cut back. It's pretty much done. All of my golden jubilee hyssop, honestly, even in the fall when there's not really anything blooming, they still kind of look purpley to me. But we can collect a lot of seed from that yet. And dark side of the moon astilbes. Time to cut these babies off. But they did really well considering it was a dry season. Starting to see some color change on the foliage down here. If you can see some red, so that's exciting. I'll get to see what happens there. This is the first year. That's a new astilbe. I do have in the shade garden. So this garden, not looking too terrible. This is probably the one garden that looks consistent and decent all year, considering how much neglect it's had. It's actually not looking terrible. And there are weeds galore because I have not been in there and walked around like I normally do with my daily, you know, my daily walkthrough. So you can see sometimes, like here's a weed, and here's a weed. So I do have to walk through and sort of clean this up a little bit. But look at that. Semisafuga, right? I just showed you the hillside splash one. Usually the deer kind of eat the the flower buds off these. Even if I spray them, they're so slender that I don't think there's a lot of that smell on the flower buds when they come out. So these tend to get eaten for me. But this year, I don't know. I'm actually getting some bloom, so that's exciting. Still have that yellow echinacea that I grew from seed blooming, starting to put up some more blooms, so that's exciting. And what else? Everything else, you know, just needs to be cleaned up. Have a lot of spent daylily scapes here from Ruby Spider, Russian Comfrey, Axminster Gold. Look at that. Like, can you can't beat that. I just love that pop, and it ties in the grass, that Hakone grass, so well. It also makes you move your eye to the next lime thing, which would be these. My ferns did come back a little bit behind this hedge, but I am going to clip this back quite a bit. I'm going to divide up this grass, and I'm going to move some of those ferns closer in here. I want them to kind of fill in because I don't want this to just to be like, you know, 12 feet of grass, because it will. I want that sort of bluish, ferny looking silver to come in here. So I do have to clean that up. That is on my chore list. But everything else, you know, it's kind of looking fallish. You know, it's not looking the best. Ivory Halo's doing okay. Curly Fries and Praying Hands looking all right. They need a little cleanup with their scapes. These big boys are starting to collect leaves that are falling from the crabapple. Yeah, look at that gorgeous thing. That's supposed to be Luna moth, but it has evolved. Like last year, this had really long, narrow leaves. This year it has sort of like, I don't know, ovular leaves. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure what this is. It's an ever-changing, maybe based on the season, it just does what it wants to. I don't know. Hosta sting tucked in the back there. What else? Yeah, the rest of this is just, well, something trampled my So Sweet Hosta back there. So I don't know if the deer are sleeping in the Hosta. I don't know. But now the grasses they're starting to lay down because of the rain. Sometimes they get really tall and they stand right up to here. That didn't happen last year because we had so much rain. And this year I noticed how tall they were getting. And that was because of, you know, the lack of rain. It just doesn't like flatten them out a little bit. But Hosta Andrew, man, it actually moved up on my list this year. I complained about that Hosta for a long time and it finally did something this year. Hot Kiss always does amazing. I love that Hosta. Gold Standard. Behind Gold Standard is Paul's Glory. Then I have some So Sweet. Then Hosta Sage, which is finally sending up flowers. This poor Hosta, I don't know what happened to it this year, but it's gonna flower. It's just gonna flower in October, so that's fine. And the rest of it, you know, we have some Hakone grass. This was tall. You can tell how the rain is like flattening that out because usually it has much more of an arch to it, so it'll go down. It's like comes up here and it comes down. Now it's flattening right out, which is fine. But anyway, this is one of the best gardens because even with neglect, as long as the deer don't hit it too bad, it looks awesome. Like I don't mind sitting in these chairs and, you know, just watching this. Even though I know I have a ton of work to do, it still looks good. I can still sit back and enjoy that. And for those of you that are interested in what my husband's garden looks like right now, the heuchera is bringing the color. It's a little fried, but some heuchera and not much difference. Still have some black-eyed Susans. The Solomon seal is looking pretty good over here. The painted ferns are really taking off. It's actually like a perfect spot for those. We have Hosta Abbey in the front, which is a good ground cover or border Hosta. Heuchera, Palace Purple. Have a peony that's actually growing in here. And then Jack of Diamonds, Brunnera back there. Still making it. Although it looks like the hydrangea, the oak leaf hydrangea did not fare so well, but I think that was probably due to us not watering it versus just not liking that location. So it was a dry year, not a good year to move things around. But anyway, the front yard, the grass is growing, still needs a little bit of reseeding and fertilization. Still have a little bit of bare spots, but the walkway is held up. The vegetable garden looks pretty good. The bird bath is telling all you need to know about how much time I've been out here spending, you know, cleaning up. I have not. But anyway, I still have a lot of color in this garden. I'm thrilled about that. Some of it, you know, the bright yellow is annuals. That's a Dahlia, sort of a short mini Dahlia. But I still have Blue Fortune hyssop. We have hydrangeas that are still coming up white. That is Little Lime. That is still putting up flowers, and I'm still cutting flowers from it to take for bouquets, so that's exciting. But yeah, a little bit of color here. A little bit of color in the vegetable garden thanks to the sunflowers. And then this was the almighty Dahlia garden I was gonna have. And to be honest, throwing in those cosmos, man, did the trick. It is definitely filling in, but look, isn't that gorgeous? Those are dahlias. And those are dahlias. And I've had some great luck with sort of a later bloom on these. So you can see how many buds there are. See all these guys? These are all dahlia buds that are gonna look like this gorgeous flower. So love that one. That one is called Baron Katie. Look at Fire Magic taking off. Oh, hello, gorgeous. That was the first dahlia that I ever purchased to grow and try. And I have grown it every year. And every year, even though I think it's gonna be a crappy year, it turns out, this is like 5.5, 6 feet maybe. Massive. And it's just loaded, like it just wants to show off, and I don't blame it. Go for it. If I was as beautiful as you, I would do it too. Look at this one. This one is called Jenna. These are not really for cutting. These are shorter. Sort of a shorter dahlia, but I think I knew that because it did go in the front. I didn't know it wasn't going to have long enough stems to sort of cut for vases, but that's fine. Some zinnias that probably should have been deadheaded and picked a while ago. Limelight, still looking good, doing well over here. Hula, one of my favorite dahlias. Holy cow, it's really, you know what, I'd say it's hard to capture the color like on camera as it is in person, but it's trying its hardest, and you can just tell it's amazing, this dahlia. Uh-oh, and my phone's gonna die, so I did not even plug it in, which is not good. But I hope this was helpful. I hope this sort of gives you an idea of what's happening here. Not really a lot of, I don't know, there's not a lot of upkeep and involvement right now from me because we're just running around, but maybe today I can get out here in between naps and lunch and kids and all that good stuff and just enjoy, you know, the rest of this season, because the season isn't over. Right, buddy? Yep, that's what I thought. Oh, look at you. Look at you, beautiful. Aw. But anyway, so I'm going to enjoy a little bit of this sunshine, a little bit of what I can today, because, man, life's busy. And apologize for not getting more videos out there this year. I did have high hopes of doing that, and I wanted to film lots, but we'll just have to take you with us as we're doing them and where we can fit them in. But yeah, so we appreciate the love, appreciate all the comments, even if they're not nice. But I hope everybody enjoys their week.